There it goes. Your taxes. Check it out, friends. There it goes. Helicopter approaching. Helicopter approaching for a buzz, sounds like. Here he comes. Direct overhead, your taxes. Your taxes. Gang stalking harassment for uploading reptilian shapeshifter movies to YouTube.
Ms. Freeland, how come the IRGC is not a terrorist group? Why is your government supporting Islamo-nationalism? What? Excuse me. What are you doing?
You're under arrest for assault.
What, sir?
Why are you pushing me? You're under arrest for assault.
Who are you?
You're under arrest for assault.
Police. Police, you're under arrest for assault. How am I under arrest? You bumped into me.
You pushed into me.
You bumped. I was just scrubbing. I got my credentials here, and you just bumped into me. So excuse
Police,
me.
you're under arrest.
What is your name and your badge?
Come over
What
here
is
for
your
a
name and your badge?
You've been told you're under arrest.
Why am I under arrest?
Come on over here. We've got a couple of
He blocked my way. What? I was just scrumming Christian Freeland.
I'm a police officer. You're under arrest.
What is your name and your badge number?
Assaulting a police officer.
How is that possible?
Okay, because
You assaulted me 3 years ago when black.
In the police station, when he was being held down and the sergeant came over, he said the sergeant shapeshifted in front of him, turned into a reptile, and then came back to human, and then shapeshifted again and returned.
Save this video, post it on other platforms before it gets taken down, because I want to clear up some of this misinformation about the Bayside Mall incident that happened. And so as we running, we look back and we notice some weird shapes taller than me. I'm 6'2", shadowy, dark, solid shapes, not human. I promise you, these is not human. I mean, it made the hair stand up on my skin.
One person told me that they were at the Bayside Marketplace, and again, these are their words. I kid you not. They told me that they saw a creature. I know it sounds ridiculous. 7 feet tall, walking around. I was like, this is insane. So I asked, I'm like, this person's crazy. I go and talk to another woman who's there in a state of actual panic, and she tells me that she saw something out of a movie. She said it looked like Alien from the Alien film in the 1980s, I think she said it was. It's insane. So I get out my phone, right? Because I want to film this and I want to get these interviews for you guys, because no one's going to believe what happened. And so I get out my phone and I start recording. The police come running over to me and they take my phone and make me delete the couple seconds that I recorded. And then they ushered me along.
And then they stand at the door. People walk through, they ask for their phones, they give them their phones, they give them back, and then they're allowed to walk out.
They wrote down and they asked everybody to check their phones. Not everybody, because there was mad people like running away too, right? They couldn't get everyone.
His eyes that are fine, and then all of a sudden they do this. I'm done.
And here it comes again. Direct overhead this time, direct overhead. Here he goes. Passing over this area, there he goes. Yep, there he goes. Direct overhead for exposing reptilians.
The reptilians arrived here and again began to take over, instilled themselves in different places underground in the earth, and also this one part of them, the ruling part, took over and became involved in the politics and in the religion, and started controlling through these means at that point in time.
We're getting the buzz, we're getting the buzz. Early morning buzz, here it comes, black and white LAPD. Your taxes. We're LA's finest for gang stalking, harassment, for uploading reptilian shapeshifter movies to YouTube. There he goes. Your tax money for LAPD helicopters. Look, he's circling around. Yeah. And he'll probably come over for one more. So we'll keep it rolling. Here he comes again. Yep. Direct overhead, direct overhead. This is a helicopter, LAPD, for uploading Reptilian shapeshifter movies to YouTube. Just uploaded something about them taking the phones at the Miami Mall, and they're not too happy about it. And that's what this is about. Just uploaded that, friends. At the Bayside Mall, they took people's phones, and I said, and I'll say again, it's illegal for them to take people's property. And just ask the question, why would they take people's phones? Because of a paranormal thing that somebody saw at the mall, in an open public place. Actually confiscate people's phones, not for uploading stuff from a military facility, not for some kind of what, but for seeing paranormal entities like ghost-like aliens at the mall. So why would, just ask the question, and think about the control they have over police. That guy couldn't talk about it. That guy that was running for sheriff, those people in the police force, they will instantly lose their job if they question anything about that or say anything about something that they tell them not to talk about. And what was it? I mean, some kind of military secret? No. What could it be? Alright, so why did they take people's phones? Because the people that are in charge are not human. Okay? They are reptilians. And they feed off of humans. And they are extremely evil, and yet they are very organized and very high tech. And they've got all humanity duped. And the reason they're confiscating people's phones, because they do not want humans to think about any sort of paranormal item that would lead to a realization that they exist and that they feed off of us. It's even scriptural. God said to the serpent for tempting Eve, "Dust shall you eat all the days of your life." Adam was made of a dust. This is why they are hiding all paranormal information, because they don't want humans to be aware that they live in a paranormal universe. So that eventually, that knowledge being common, they realize through some other information that comes that they are being fed off of by another race.
A creature resembling a mermaid being pulled out of a lake. This footage, enveloped in controversy, stirred a whirlwind of discussions and theories across the globe. The video, uploaded on social media in 2015, depicts men in biohazard suits retrieving the creature from the water. Onlookers were initially unsure of what was being lifted until the figure's large fishtail became visible. The mermaid was then carefully placed on a stretcher and taken away to an undisclosed location. Speculations about the nature of this discovery were rampant.
Getting the buzz, getting the bugs, looks like. Let's see if we can go for a close-up here. YouTube is censoring my content. They have been for a long time. They limit the number of views my movies can get and how many people will ever see my movies. You'll notice it's a small view count in compared to the number of subscribers, which I've had a lot more than what you see there. Right now they just allowed it to go up to 89,000, whereas it's been 88 for a long time, and that's because what you can't see, because they don't show the smaller numbers, is that they actually keep it at a certain point and then they subtract subscribers every time. Even though like a bunch more come on, they'll take them all off. One of the things that I've always thought about our situation, or really my situation, is that I've had other lives, I've had other experiences before this, and that's one of the reasons why I feel disappointed, because there's this expectation of something better out of life that's not in this life. Because even though I don't remember it specifically, in the back of my mind, somewhere in my subconscious, I remember something that was notably better than this. One of the things that I wrote about and did drawings of as a kid was this idea of coming from an ultra advanced civilization, and then somehow I ended up marooned on this planet of sort of a backward, low tech, just emerging into basic technology civilization. And so it all seems so like I've taken a huge step backwards in life. Like somehow I used to be part of something, and life in general was so much more fun and inspirational and exciting, whereas this, even there's this one guy who wrote these sci-fi novels, and one of the things they called this realm mundania. I thought that was pretty cool, because that's kind of the feeling you get. It's like somehow there was something in the human life and perspective that was, it didn't suck so bad that you have people really committing crimes that otherwise wouldn't, just out of boredom or just because of lack. Whereas if you had a life of exciting, adventures that were fulfilling, you felt good about yourself, you felt good about your family and the people around you, it would be a whole different scene. And I think it really is in our subconscious. It really is there. And but the problem is that we don't know. It could be anything. I mean, it could. Most notably, and a lot of people would say it's just your imaginations, your thoughts, your expectations. It could even be from entertainment that you saw early on that developed these ideas that you watched as a kid of the glorious hero or the glorious heroine or whatever, and some, cool adventure, like my dad used to say, son, you got to realize most people don't look like what they look like in the movies. Most people look like potatoes. That was his way of putting it. But it's not as fun or glamorous or exciting as the entertainment world would as kids sitting in front of these TVs, sitting in front of these movie theater screens, think that it is. But from a scriptural standpoint, that is actually not far from the truth. From the original idea that I put forward, which is that we actually come from an ultra advanced civilization. Because if you look at what the scripture says that God has in store for those who wait for Him, you see, wait for Him rather than take your own pleasure and seek out your own tainted desires in this life, which I've done quite a bit, I admit, and may still be addicted to. But the fact is that what God is saying, in essence, in His Word, is that if you wait for Him, if you seek Him, if you do the right thing out of the Scripture, which God will lead you along incrementally, as Isaiah 28 importantly tells us, the right knowledge built upon the right knowledge, so that you will not be broken, snared, and taken, which is the purpose of the reptilians, I believe, the devils, because they are there as a catch-all for those who won't follow along with God, paying attention to what next step He has in store for you, and gaining that knowledge so that you can not be broken, snared, and taken, as Isaiah 28 tells us happens to those who build wrong knowledge upon gradual wrong Christian knowledge. It's very important to understand that it's Christian knowledge. And I want to talk, I'm going to keep bringing this point back about Proverbs, talking about this really important verse. So are the ways of everyone that is greedy of gain. Most people do not understand what this means. It means people think that when you say, so are the ways of everyone that is greedy of gain, the people that are greedy of gain are, these people wringing their hands going, yes, money, and it's, they're kind of superficial, and, you can tell by just talking to them for a little bit that, like, all they care about is money, money. Actually, it's not the case. The case, I believe, is that this applies to everyone who will not look at the star pupil driver here. You really got these star pupil drivers here, guys. Sorry, I didn't mean to distract. Okay, so the greedy of gain thing is not just some people that are wringing their hands going, yeah, money, and they're all they can talk about and all they can think of. We've seen them, if you've met them, talking about all they talk about the money, and because that's all they don't have any creative ideas about anything else. And in the situation where you need to be hustling continuously for money, even if you are a regular worker, you're looking for more hours, can you get a bonus, it's what you're thinking about to keep from being that guy who's standing out on the sidewalk that is homeless, right? You don't want to end up like that. So minus the elevation of the knowledge of God, you fall into that mindset, even though you may be poor, okay, and just barely struggling to pay your rent. You can still be of this category. So are the ways of everyone that is greedy of gain. Which, the preface to that is these people is an analogy of thieves lying in wait for blood. Let us look for the innocent. Let us lurk for the innocent, privily, secretly. That means let us wait in secret for blood. You see, to take advantage of the poor, to rob people. And you say, well, no, that doesn't mean, we have honest laborers and they're certainly not the kind of people who are robbers. Well, the thing is, the way the world is designed, as I've been teaching here for a long time, it's a secret cabal of crimes which look like ordinary occupations. The regular job that's needed, the guy down the street, you need him to do that thing. The guy over there, you need him to do that part of society. Otherwise, we're not going to have the building, we're not going to have the food, we're not going to have the water, whatever, everything, the clothes. But it's designed to snare the soul. It's designed as covert crimes, which you can't tell by looking. That's the part that's really confusing about this. And I'm not sitting here, I have to remind and say what I've said continuously as I've been talking about this, that there's no one that could readily explain how the normalized occupations of the world are crimes. That if you aren't given the special, the select, the few that are chosen knowledge of what they are, you will continue in them because that's the common sense thing to do. That's what everyone does. You need to make a living. You want to not be, laughed at as you walk down the street. You want to have, basic social comforts, basic home, even if you're not that ambitious. A lot of people are. It's one thing I like about Los Angeles, despite the way people drive. It's surrounded, it's a place where people come who are ambitious. They want to achieve something more. They want to get on top. They want to get ahead. They're struggling. They're working. That means that people are more innovative. They have more money. They have more thoughts. They have more care about things. That makes for a society which is more interesting. It's a more interesting dynamic, a more interesting atmosphere. I've been to small towns, and I'm not putting down small towns whatsoever. I think they're great. And there's a lot to be said that they have a big advantage over big towns. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's a lot of things that I wish I could live in a small town. Things are the way they are for me. I'm kind of basically stuck here. I mean, it seems like I could just pack up and go anywhere, and basically I could, but when you're as minimized as I am. Anyway, that's the point I'm trying to make here is that people in general, a tiny percentage, very small percentage of people that actually get. See, other people, they're poor and minimized and are not seeking glory and wealth, as it were, or greedy of gain, whether they're rich or not. a lot of those people they're just losers. They suck. They have no talent. They have nothing. They really are like, you know, minimized people because they, you know, whatever personal flaws that they have. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about people who do have enough, if they wanted to pursue, to be greedy of gain, or to, as most people would see it, just do what's common sense, you know, to do the best you can. You know, when you do well for yourself, the scripture says, men will speak well of you, right? When you do financially well, people will like you. So to the point of coming from an ultra advanced civilization, which is beyond the mundane tasks that we're forced to do in this life, a life that's exciting and fulfilling, and you can be everything that you want to be, and you know, and have something that's truly inspirational every day, and not just slogging through life. You know, as the song says, you know, at a certain point in life, you know, it's no longer exciting. But the scripture, beyond just, you know, what, as you know, I say a lot, you know, the scripture says that God is offering a life free of pain, sorrow, and death, which is pretty awesome, and crying. The former things have passed away. So that comes for everyone that waits for him. Now, there's a lot you can extrapolate from that, but there's even more. One thing I find interesting is the part in the scripture where it says that we will no longer be offended. We'll be beyond being offended, which is massive, because that's one of the main things that keeps people from being able to get along with each other. It's so easy to be offended, even by some mistake. You can be offended, and then you have another thing that God says to Jerusalem, which is that I will no longer be wroth with you anymore. So if you have a situation where actually you know God is not going to be wroth with someone, or you know, we can extrapolate from that God is able to create a situation where we are not committing anything, we are not doing anything. That must mean, or most likely means, I would almost say must, but not, you know, 100% ironclad. That would mean that that person is beyond sin. So because if you did a sin, you know, or you did something wrong, then it would cause wrath. It would cause anger from someone else. You see? So actually, it's saying, and really from the part about no more sorrow anymore, if somebody did something wrong, wouldn't that cause sorrow? And then, you know, it was somebody wronged somebody else. Let's say it was just by accident, if they forgot to show up or forgot to say something that, you know, they were supposed to say, or whatever it is, you know, some sort of social or family kind of needs that aren't being met, that would cause sorrow. That would cause someone to be angry with somebody else. So if you have control over reality to the extent that you can even say, for instance, God saying to the daughter of Jerusalem, I will no longer be wroth with you anymore, basically ever again. It sounds like from the scripture, tell me, I don't have the verse right in front of me, but it's basically saying, I will no more be wroth with you anymore. So if that's the case, it must mean that there is control over reality. We have the technology. That is, God has the technology, therefore we have it if we're found worthy, if we make it. But to obtain that life is certainly not risk-free, and it's not cost-free. Basically, it costs you everything, because what'll happen is, if you are going for that opportunity and you really have hope in it, you cannot do and be the things in the world that are the glory of the world, the chances of the world, the things that you can be that would gain you esteem in the world, that would be a life for you. Everything that maybe your parents hoped for that you might become is non-existent, because you've taken hope in something else. You've invested in something else. I think this is a great view here. See, people don't realize that all of this is under the precise control of God, and that it's in a way all about what God is going to do in this or that. But I mean, it's not like God's mind isn't in control of everything, because it's that testimony by William Weiss is very important, the way he says that, and it's also scriptural. Scripture backs it up, but the way he said that not a leaf falls to the ground, you know, it's not like God is you know, not, you know, present in some things. It's everything is under control. He says he controls all the planets and stars and all the life and everything that's on them, and there's billions of them, and he controls all of it. It's just mind-boggling. So, and that's really the feeling that I got about it. You know, this is what that situation is. But clearly what we have here, where we're absent a more direct knowledge of God, is that there's a need for people to make free choices without knowing that there is a supreme creator and controller, and that there's a set law of righteousness, and that if you break that law, you're going to find yourself in world of hurt. So the interesting thing, as I've been saying, is that we're going to see this heaven manifesting in the earth, whereas it's always been, you know, up in the heavens or wherever that we hear scripturally about. I think there's other places, other planets that don't suck as bad as this planet does. I gotta say. But I mean, but what I was thinking was that because that's that entrance as the new world, what the scripture says, the age to come, life everlasting, is going to be in the earth. The 1,000-year reign of Christ is, I think it's like the beginning. So it's at that time, it's not going to be that perfect, you know, thing that is promised in the scripture, where there's, you know, basically it's no more pain, sorrow, or death. But it's like a transition period, you know, it's the day of rest after the work. And then, but sometime after that, the new heavens and the new earth, the new heavens and the new earth are made, and then that life free of pain, sorrow, and death, truly, you know, like really optimized, you know, utopia basically is what we're hoping for anyway. Of course, we don't know, but that's what the scripture seems to be saying. And what's fascinating is that simultaneous with this whole program of learning that God has here, I think that the reptilians who live among us and do shapeshift, some of them, or the rest of them, live underground and are part of a whole sub-society, literally subterranean society, that they have weapons and technology that are so beyond what humans can even think could possibly exist, that their control over humanity is like, it's solid. These people that think, you know, oh, we're winning, we got them on the run, you know, and like you hear Alex Jones say, you know, this is, the elites are panicking, you know, oh, Bill Gates he's on the ropes, you know. I mean, I think that the people that are really in the know, like George Bush Sr. Apparently was, he's passed on now, but apparently he was one of the insiders, like real insiders, and these are the people that sit around the table with the reptilian at the head, and they give their bow of submission to the reptilian, you know, when they enter the room, and they know that their control over society and their power is so superior that they just know that every idea of man to rebel against it is just, there's just nothing they can do, because see, they carefully watch everything to see if there's anybody who might be developing something, whether it's a movement or a technology or something that would be a threat to their control, and they immediately shut it down. They just clamp down on it in 2 seconds flat. I think they have like a, they said that they have like a shield over the earth, and it's like a grid, a lockdown, as Peggy Kane and Simon Parks and people like that have been detailing. They have a consciousness net that can tell when anyone even has a thought that they can detect as a threat. Actually, that was the feeling that I got when I was using X, or Twitter. It used to be Twitter. And I just started, like, recently, I decided to download it on my phone and just give it a little bit more of a whirl. I don't like these smaller social media platforms, and social media in general. I think it's all under the same control, similar control. I mean, you can certainly do a lot more with it, you know, and you're going to see a lot more truth on it than anything you're going to see on TV. I don't recommend watching TV at all. It's just pure evil. And I thought maybe because Elon Musk had taken control of it, that, you know, and he's saying some good things, that maybe it might be cool. But I was making a comment on, there was a picture of some Houthis, whatever, military people saying that they're swearing, you know, attack against the American empire, whatever it was. And my comment was simply, those idiots will be blown to shit in 2 seconds flat. And boom, I got this warning message from X before I was allowed to post it, saying, we monitor, you know, something might be inflammatory or some, I forget what I should have taken a snapshot of it, but basically it was, you know, we regulate speech that might, you know, be, you know, cause a problem of some kind. And so, do you want to post it? And I said yes, but what that tells me right there, that they're monitoring, first of all, what you say, okay, in real time. Not you know, I'm not saying there's guys saying that. I'm saying it's obviously an AI that's watching it, and if it sees anything that they think might be something that goes against what their narrative, or, you know, their rules that they're doing to help, you know, protect society, anything like that, where it's somebody else that can control what you're saying. For instance, obviously, like here on YouTube, it's really bad. But at least, you know, you can publish movies, and what you say in those movies, you're not going to be monitored in real time, you know, asking you if you're sure you want to say something. You know, that's just, first of all, I used to, when in the early days of the internet, they had these chat places, you know, you go and chat stuff. And one of the things that I learned, one of the main lessons I learned is, you can't, you know, first of all, online chat's pretty lame too, because it brings out the worst in people. And, you know, when people aren't afraid of immediate consequences, all kinds of evil comes out of them. The Romans 7:18, no good thing dwelling within, really comes out when you don't have strictures upon you of someone right in your face, or, you know, over the phone, or direct email, or something like that. And it's just, you know, it's just diarrhea of the mouth that comes out a lot of times. But the other thing that's really important is that when it's somebody else's site, they can control what you say. Fuck that. I'm just giving you straight out. I mean, to me, anything where somebody else can have control over what you say, forget it, man. I mean, I am not going to be a party to something that, you know, where, you know, oh, all of a sudden, if they don't, and chances are, when I'm talking, someone's not going to like what I have to say. Screw that, man. I mean, that's just, you know, I'm not, and so I'm disappointed that that's the case, but it's not surprising whatsoever. So I've totally lost interest in X. I was going to participate a little more. Who knows? Maybe I can get a little following.